Yeah, yeah, yeah. Grind, hey, grind, hey, grind, hey, grind.
Hi, my name is Pamela Mtanga.
We're talking all things career and journey. I'm a business owner, one whose creativity knows no bounds.
I am a multimedia entrepreneur.
Now, when I hear lights, camera, action, that's when I know it is game time because I am a broadcaster.
You're watching AfriMax.
What's good? What's popping, everybody? My name is Pamela Mtanga.
I feel most alive when I'm in front of the camera. I feel most alive when I am creating. I'm a content creator. Hi guys, let's go and show them we're worth it.
The second ever campaign I did with Adidas was the Ivy Park campaign.
A fashion lover. And when I create, I am reminded of my purpose, which is to make people happy. And that is why philanthropy comes naturally to me. And as my star rises and shines, I want you to know that this is only the beginning.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you so much for every one of you for showing up today, right? The title of my talk is Explore Every Single Talent, Every Passion, and Every Interest, because the biggest injustice you can ever do to yourself is not realizing your full potential. My name is Pamela Mtanga, and I'm a multimedia entrepreneur. I know it's a fancy title, right? It is a fancy title. But it wasn't until 2 years ago that I was having a conversation with Sibu Mabena of Duma Collective, and she was like, Pam, Kanti, what are you? What do you do? Because you wear so many hats, you do so many things. And we landed at the title Multimedia Entrepreneur. And I felt like I'm so empowered by this particular statement because I do not let people define me, but at that moment, it was okay. But let's take it a couple of years back, right? My journey started in front of my grandfather's mirror. Yes, it started in front of my grandfather's mirror because between me and that mirror, I was a presenter on Yo TV and no one could tell me anything. Who else had that dream of being on Yo TV? Exactly. But unlike some of you maybe, mine was cut very short. My grandfather used to say, which translates to stop watching or looking at yourselves rather in that mirror like you're a bunch of cats. Of course, I didn't want to be a cat. So I was like, okay, abort mission, maybe not the career. My journey also as an entrepreneur started in that very same house. At that time, I didn't think anything of it because I learned a skill and I monetized it, kept it moving, right? However, I don't know about where you guys are from, but where I'm from, when there's a vacant garage, it's definitely going to be turned into a salon. Is that a thing in your hood? Exactly, that's what happened in my house. I used to marvel and watch this Ghanaian lady who rented out my grandfather's garage do hair so meticulously and became one of the most trusted people within the community when it came to hair. And I was like, I can do that. And I learned just by observing, and then I started my hair business a couple of years later, right? And I was in grade 9 at that time. You're probably wondering then, where did the love for fashion come from? If I'm being quite honest, it was a trauma response. It was a trauma response. It's not that deep. Don't say, It's not that deep. It was a trauma response because whilst everybody else in reception year was dressed in tulle dresses, they were wearing pom-poms, this was me. Why? Yes, it's okay. Call it traumatic because did my dad not know I was going to be an icon? Why did he let me leave looking like that? Now there goes my chances of saying I was born stylish, darling. there goes my chances. Now you can see the real me. But in his defense, he was just a lawyer, very young, trying to figure out being a parent and, of course, raising this child whilst my mom was also chasing her career in Cape Town at the time. But as soon as I was off a sound mind and I revisited this picture, I said, girl, justice for this little girl. And every single time I step out right now, I gotta make sure. And a couple of wardrobe malfunctions here and there, you know the deal, but that is how I like to step out. Now that I've given you a bit of a lowdown, you're probably wondering then, why was this creativity never nurtured? Why was it not cultivated? For two reasons. The first one is that our parents were growing up when we were growing up. They were trying to figure life out. They were doing it for the first time. And on top of that, they were parents and they were young. So they had no time to kind of nurture this creative child. They were figuring things out themselves too. Number two, we grew up in an era where STEM careers were where it was at, right? You had to push or propel your child towards science, technology, engineering, and medicine because you wanted them to secure a better future. That is what we were taught, and that's the era we grew up in. So, of course, they pushed me towards those subjects. And on top of that, I really loved helping people as a child, so they thought I was going to be a doctor. But fast forward to first year, I went into engineering. I was an electrical engineering hopeful. But 4 years later, hey, that happened. I came out as a full-blown creative. And you're probably thinking, yo, Pam, me personally, I don't see you working at ESCOM. Me too. I didn't see it either. It was all dreams. Call it delusion if you want. But it did not happen, right? So a year into the course, I changed into a BA Media Communication and Culture degree, right? It usually takes about 3 weeks for them to accept you. It took me 2 days. That's a confirmation I needed that this is where I belong and this is where I have to be. And on top of that, I told my mother, very scared, and she was like, I was really waiting for you to tell me because I know you belong in the arts. You're such a creative child, but I really wanted you to decide for yourself. Now, when we talk about really open-minded people, you talk about my mom. Let me tell you about my mom. She recently turned 50 in Feb, and she had her first graduation 2 weeks ago. First ever graduation. So that's a woman who's open-minded, right? And that's what I love about her. So yeah, I studied BA Media Communication and Culture degree, and a couple of months in, and I was like, hey, there's a new girl in town. We don't know who she is. So let's explore her fully. And that's exactly what I did. I went into radio, not because I thought like, I can do this thing, but I just thought that there's something in me, man. I have this energy that I want to share with the world. But radio was the very, very best platform for me to share it with the world because at the end of the day, I'm still coming out of my shell. You can't go straight from electrical engineering, being a shy girl, and then stepping on stage like this. It was not going to happen for me. So gradually, I knew people could hear me, but they couldn't see me, and that was enough for me. I fell in love with radio, I grew within the space, and then a couple of months later, I was met with a challenge. What was the challenge? I was coerced to MC an event, or rather an activation right on campus. Now, if you are from WITS, UJ, UP, UWC, wherever you're from, think about the part of your campus that hosts the biggest activations. So, growl, think about all these places, the lawns, all of these places, the piazza, at my university, which is Nelson Mandela University, it was the Kraal. That is where the popular people sit during lunch. The stoners sit there. The people who are really stylish. So anyone who could laugh at you for making a fool of yourself was there. So I was thinking of every single excuse why I shouldn't be doing it. Then my manager said, if you want to lose your job, then don't do this thing. I was like, he's like, yeah, it's in your contract, so you have to do it. I was like, oh, damn. Now I went in at the Kraal, gathered energy, I grabbed the mic, and I spoke for the first time. I kid you not, after my first link, I came out and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's such a beautiful feeling to have, to step into a space completely foreign and you're like, damn, I can do this, you know? And that moment for me was such a defining moment, and the sky was not even the limit. I would go on to host events, from pageants on campus to academic events. At that time, the way I was so popular on campus, I would even host the opening of a police docket if they allowed me. That's how the demand for my brand grew. On the weekend, I already knew I had gigs lined up. I had to do hair as well, and I had radio as well. So those were my weekends. They were just set out. It was a beautiful thing to be a part of. And then I grew beyond that, and I became an ambassador for a couple of brands, 3 brands in particular, including a youth marketing agency at the time that would hire me in my first year of working. So obviously, I went into the working world, and now we're here. 3 television shows later, magazine covers, over 100 events and influencer campaigns, magazine features. I've done so much, and this is only the beginning. I think if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this video. I don't know if it's going to play. It's not playing. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But these are my humble beginnings. I don't even know what I was saying to these guys, but I was inexperienced at this time. But you know what? I really had to push forward. But I could stand here and talk about myself and my career and all the amazing things that I've done. But this talk wouldn't be complete without me sharing a couple of tips that I feel like could be useful within your journey or your career to ensure that you are accelerated as well. These are some of the things that I really wish someone stood in front of me and said, hey, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. And I hope you are ready. If you do not remember anything from this talk, these are the things that I hope you remember. You don't remember the picture of me at my graduation when I was in grade R? Please don't remember that. Remember these 5 tips. Okay, number 1, keep an open mind and allow change, evolution, and self-discovery in your journey. Now imagine if I didn't change my course. Would I be standing here today? Imagine if I conformed to the idea that I'm supposed to be in a STEM career in order to be successful. I certainly would miss out on every opportunity to stand on a stage and say, I'm Pamela Mtanga and I'm your host, because that brings me so much life. It brings me so much life you do not understand. So keep an open mind, allow change to happen. If you're feeling like you're interested in something, please be very inquisitive and curious and be like, okay, you like this, do it, you know. Do it. Put in your energy, put in your time, put in your effort to explore that thing, because you do not know where it may go. So please do make sure you do that. Because if I didn't change courses, I'd probably be working at ESCOM and flickering the light switch between you and your crush's spark. Like, yeah, Ima. Oh yeah, Ntanda chomi, Ima. That would probably be me. Because I'd be so miserable in my job and I didn't go for my dreams. Of course, I faced the challenge of my peers and my classmates looking down on me like, ish, yeah, she wasn't smart enough. That's why she couldn't handle engineering. Yeah, it's not for everybody, bro. It's not for everybody. Well, every single day is an opportunity to make sure that I am winning somewhere else. And it's okay. And it's okay. I'm not in competition with anybody, but I can make a success of myself outside of engineer, and I certainly am doing it every single day. So please do keep an open mind and see what else you can do. Don't allow people to box you. Second thing is, you do not have to be the jack of all trades, but I bet you can try. People usually say you can't be the jack of all trades because you'll be the master of none, bloody, bloody, blah. Let me tell you, when I'm interested in something, I question this interest. I'm like, hey, corner something, let's go in, you know? And that's the spirit you have to go with, because you do not know yourself fully. You're not the person you were yesterday. You're not the person you were 5 years ago. So you should allow yourself to go into new, uncharted territories and just explore that fully. Because at the very end of the day, the people who tell you you can't be good at a particular thing are only limiting themselves. they're reinforcing those limitations on you because they don't think that they can do it. Therefore, you can't do it either, you know? You can't do it either. And that's why they have to tell you so that they can reinforce that I can't do it. And therefore, you can't do it either, you know? So please allow yourself to explore. When I think about being the jack of all trades and trying to master things, I got nominated for an award for my business 7 months after starting it, right? I got nominated as best presenter for a music TV show, for a TV show I did for 8 months. I've gotten nominated and awarded as a digital content creator numerous times. And I say this to say that I am the jack of all trades. I may not master everything every single time, but damn, I put in my all to make sure that I am learning and growing within those particular spaces. Number 3, I'm trying to chase time as well. Bet on your grind. This is one of the most important ones because if you think about, any of you have seen me on social media or know my journey, when I went into content creation, I was one of the first people to bring in videographers to the scene. My content looked like it was TV ads and stuff like that. Even when I started working with my videographers, they had one video and I was like, this guy can't take videos. I was just like, this video, you know? And I was looking at the content, I was just like, I do not have time. I'm a 9-to-5 girl. I'm not trying to be revolutionary or whatever. It's just that I don't have time. The regular content creator who spends their time and invests so much money in equipment and etc., I couldn't do that, right? All I knew is that I could get someone who's going to record the videos, and then I'm there in the videos and selling the product, and then I can move on to the next thing while they edit, right? I was not trying to be revolutionary. It was just a practical plan. It just became such a beautiful thing that meant that brands were so attracted to me because it was a new type of content. They were so excited about it, right? It was beautiful. And then when I think about all of those things that I put in, or the energy I put in towards making sure that I'm creating that type of content, it took so much money. I would hire venues. I would hire a car. I would hire makeup. I do hair, everything. So let's say I'm getting paid 10,000 Rand. By the time I'm done with the campaign, 8K gone. That is the biggest challenge that I face because now I spend all my money in production. I have to even pay the videographers. So now I'm left with like 2K. You think that 2K is mine? That 2K is not mine either. I have to fund the next campaign. And brands will take like 2-3 months to pay because you're starting out. And when you're starting out, you can't negotiate your payment structures. There was a 90-day one. That one would kill us. 90 days. 90 days, and you're like, yeah, we're going to pay in 90 days. Yeah, it's just, they're like, can we please? No, sorry. At some point, I even remember I was owed about 200 and something K. I was like, Sisi, my car. I need to pay for this car. I need to pay for this car. It's not that I can't afford it. I can, but you get my money. And she was like, I can't do anything. Finance pays in a month. But guess someone else paid the next day. Then that's the thing about being owed money. Someone's going to pay at some point. You know, hopefully someone is going to bail you out. And that's exactly what happened. Those are the kind of things that I face. But as you grow as a creator, you are able to raise your rates, number 1. Number 2, have payment structures that work for you, but also have accounting structures within your business. I'm not saying mine is perfect. Hey, it's looking kind of shaky right now. But the more you grow, the more you're able to afford to implement those things within your business, right? So whatever it is that you do, please invest in your business. If you run a dental practice, invest in the latest materials for veneers so that people don't have to go to Turkey and get teeth that they don't like. Invest in making sure that you know the equipment that your favorite podcasters are using. Research, go to acting classes. Do everything that you can to ensure that you are investing in your grind because you can't expect somebody else to bet on you when you can't bet on yourself. So invest in yourself every single day. The 4th one, don't be afraid to start small. Now, when I was starting out, the likes of Mihlali, Sibumpanza, Okay Wasabi, all of them, were big on YouTube and on these platforms, and they had the latest equipment. But you can't be discouraged by that. You can't be discouraged like that because not everyone has the funds. They all had to start somewhere. And not everyone is also going to have a viral moment. I feel like we live in an era where people are just going viral and you just think, yeah, I just need a viral moment, bro. Push your content. Have proof of concept. Post content every single day. Push your content with what you have. If you think of Mushendike, now that is the cheapest wine you can get. It's close to para. That wine. He started there and now he's the most sought after presenter in South Africa at the moment. He started there. Nomza Mombata was rejected from MTV Base. Rejected. She didn't make it through to top 5, I think. But she didn't give up. And look where she is now, global superstar. So what I'm saying is, you have to ensure that you are not too big to start small. And the last one, your network is your net worth. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am very shy. It is the most shocking thing, but I have split personalities, right? So one personality is just like, yeah, go girl, yes, you know? And then the other one is just like, yo. It's like that. It's like that. It's very split, you know? I sometimes have anxiety attacks at events. True story. Unless I have the mic. When I have the mic, can't touch me. No, when I have the mic, you can't touch me. Sorry. But when I'm just attending and I'm just there and like, hi, Pam, and I'm just like, yo, nababantu. That's how I'm low-key feeling, you know? And therefore, networking is a bit hard for me. And so it is for most people. Networking is hard. But you can't want the dream without the work that it comes with. You can't want the dream without the work that it comes with. You have to push yourself a bit further to say, okay, cool. Today I'm just recording the video. I'm not going to post it. Tomorrow I'm going to record the video and I'm going to post it. I'm going to put it on private. And tomorrow I'm going to post it and then I'm going to log off and hope people just like it. It goes like that gradually up until you get to a point where you're able to put together a team for yourself that is able to represent you in rooms. Now, you know what I do? I just push my manager. I'm just like, yeah, there's someone coming. Yeah, bye-bye. And then I just hide and I know he's going to talk to the people and make sure he networks. But another thing that I find to be quite useful, every single time I am out, I make sure it's memorable. Whatever brand manager booked me, I go to them. I'm like, is there anything else you need? Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a reel and I'm going to give you a free story. Can't wait to work with you again. This was amazing. I'm that person because I know I'm never out. But every time I am out, I have to make it impactful because at the end of the day, that is my grind. That's where I get paid. So I have to make sure that I am seen there. I have to make sure I make people feel good. Sometimes I don't even remember people's names. But I'm like, oh man, it was lovely working with you last time. Oh, you're amazing. Oh, I forgot the name that time. But it's how you make people feel, you know. So even as a budding creator or anyone who wants to get into an industry, don't underestimate the power of networking. Try get into those events. Go on LinkedIn, find brand manager for bloody, bloody, blah. Or go find agency behind bloody, bloody, blah. You'll eventually get to a place where you're able to see which events they host and what do they do and make sure you get in there. Because that is where you'll meet the brand managers, the agency people, the marketing people, all of them are there. And it starts with the, hi, how are you? You don't always have to say, hi, Ngqel campaign. No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's just like, hi, how are you? Oh, no, I love your brand or whatnot. Okay, great event or whatever. And just start the conversation and so that you become top of mind. Because there's no reward for being the quiet one in the corner. If you are shy about your dreams, if you are shy about the things that you want to do, how do you expect someone else to endorse you? How do you expect someone else to give you a cosign and say, hey, I've seen that girl's work. I've seen that guy's work. I've seen their work. They're really dope. Oh, I met her at this event. So, in closing, I'd like to say, continue to believe in your dopeness. What makes you unique is the fact that you are you. There's no photocopy, not even a twin could be you. So do you, because nobody else does it best. And thank you so much for having me. Oh, I was supposed to keep checking my thing. I forgot. Okay, do we have any questions?
Hi, Pam. So nice to meet you, dear. I wanted to ask, well, first I'll start by saying, because I actually never got to tell you this, that when I was studying mechanical engineering and I had just discovered your page, I was falling in love with you. And then I found out, so I'm going back and forth between, do I go creative full on, or do I drop out of this engineering thing, or carry on with this engineering and go be the doctor, lawyer, engineer? And I don't know how I stumbled upon that you had dropped out, not dropped out, just changed degrees. Let me respect you. Changed degrees to something else. And I was like, this is the sign that I needed to leave and move on to digital marketing. So in 2022, I started my degree and now I'm in my final year, which is great. But
Yo, I don't want to encourage people to drop out, guys. I'm joking. It's just a joke.
but I needed it, or else I wouldn't have achieved the things that I have today. And I think for me, right now, the difficult part that I find myself in is because I'm someone who likes to try things. Like, I'm like you. I want to die empty. When I leave, I want to know that I've explored every single thing that I came to earth with. But now I find myself juggling digital marketing, YouTube, TikTok, radio, now at Tax FM, a whole lot of different things. And when it comes to going all in into one thing, because now I'm in my final year, I have to make it work this year. Otherwise, next year, I must go work by the boss. And so for me, my question is, how do you know what to go all in to and when to go all in? Yeah.
I love this question. So this is similar to the question that I usually get about work-life balance, because sometimes I'm really spent because I'm trying to stretch myself too far. And to be quite honest, when I started out, I remember my makeup artist sending me a picture, I think this year, earlier. She's like, oh, this is the first time we worked together. My eyes were red. You would swear I was the highest in the room. My eyes were red, and I remembered how hard I was grinding at that time because I was just trying to get my foot in the door, you know. So there are seasons in your life where you're going to stretch yourself too far and you're going to feel like, oh, damn, I have to do this and do this. And the most fortunate thing about you right now is that you're young. You can stretch yourself far. You can stretch yourself far and not feel like, oh, my waist. You know, you can stretch yourself really far and not feel like, ish, I'm burning out too quickly, you know. And when you get to the point where you're able to, I'm going to take 100%, ne? 100%. Take 100%. That is what you have. You don't have more than that. Don't even trick yourself into thinking you have more than that. 100%. And of that 100%, what needs you the most right now? You just got onto radio. It's barely been a month or two. That is what needs you the most. You have to cement yourself there. So of that 100%, you're going to put 60% on radio, sometimes 70% on radio. But also, your studies need you a lot. But it also depends in terms of your studies, how much do they need you? Because if you're studying for a test or you're preparing for an exam, then that 60% switches to the studying. And then that 40% is the radio, right? And then everything else will follow. Within that 100%, you're going to see how you split that 100%. But think of a work-life balance as 100% and how far you can stretch that 100%. Because different seasons of your life require more from you. And you have to be able to discern that this time, business needs me more. That was me last year. Last year, I said 80% on business. This year, I am not standing on that business. I'm standing on building Brand Pam this year. That's what I want to do. I want to leave my own legacy, you know, within the space. So I want to build Brand Pam more. So even when there's problems in the business, I was just like, you handle, operating officer. You handle me. I'm going to check you on the flip side. Brand Pam needs me. But another thing that I really would like to encourage you is that when you step into whatever role you step into, give it your all. It's like when I step on stage, there's nothing else that exists. You can't even get me to create a content piece. My manager will try to be like, oh, you're doing this event now, it ends at 4. Maybe at 6 p.m. you can shoot Nivea. It's not going to happen. Because right now, I'm doing the event. I'm planning for the event. So I can't shoot something else at 6 p.m. because I would have had 2 hours to prepare. Because you think I'm going to prepare for the event and prepare for the content piece. Not going to happen. So that is what you do. You have to be very intentional about what you're doing and do it to the best of your ability. What makes jack of all trades and master of none a thing is because when people do everything, they don't put their all in everything. But when you put your all in everything that you do, then you're going to become a success at those things. I hope it answers your question.
How important is it to have that hustle or 9 to 5 in order to push your grind? And how do you also manage that to sort of work your way into getting into your grind? Thanks.
I love that question. So I started in a 9 to 5 setting, and if I can tell you, I got into a crossroad with my CEO at the time. He was like to me. So essentially, what had happened is they had a client. The client liked me, and they lost the client, and the client continued with me as an MC, right? Then now it's just like, no, you can't be working with them because the campaign, the contract is not ours anymore. Understandably so, but it's like, yeah, you have to choose between them and us. You have to, but no, they actually say you have to choose between Pam, because what you're doing is selfish, between Pam and this company. And yeah, and you wouldn't like what would happen if you would lose your job, and then there's a hearing, and yeah, it could get nasty. I was like, okay, let me tell you, the worst thing you could say to me is otherwise, because me, I want to see that otherwise. So I started packing my stuff. I went back to my table, packed my stuff, deleted all my emails and stuff. And then at 5 o'clock, when I had to knock off, I sent an email. I was like, a text or an email. I was like, hey, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've enjoyed really working here. You've really helped me within my career. And yeah, I'll be awaiting the details with regards to the hearing. And then I left. That's how I left my job. But I got another one because right after that, COVID started. Maybe a week later, COVID started. Then I got another job. And within that job, we were so accustomed to working from home, even that when we went back into the office, it was very flexible. And because of that, I could still do my influencer events. And in fact, how they saw my influencer stuff and everything else was that it could really fuel your creativity inside the job. So we really like what you're doing, until I couldn't keep up with it anymore. And then in September of 2020, I decided to just be an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur since. Now, it might not work for everybody to just pick up and leave, but what I learned while I was working in corporate was that, or rather agency, I was able to save up money, and even when brands weren't paying me, I knew that I had something to fall back on. I knew that I could pay my rent and pay all my expenses during that time while I waited for brands to pay me. Because I think right now, a lot of people leave their jobs prematurely. That is the one thing that I can tell you. People leave their jobs prematurely because you see like, yeah, I'm booming on social media. Yeah, but you could have money, but the money could be, you could have 100K by the agency. It's not with you. And you can't tell the landlord like, promise you, ngizopop, I promise you can't do that, So whatever you do, please just do make sure that there is a balance, but also when you know it's time, you will feel it.
Thank you, Pamela.
It's Pamela.
Pamela Mtanga.
Yeah.
Right, Pamela.
Same with the twang.
Pamela Mtanga.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Give it up for Pamela, guys.